Welcome, everyone, to our class today where you will learn how to talk about your feelings. And we are going to have such a lovely conversation today. So, why don't we start this with how are you doing today? Because you need to ask the question to start talking about your feelings. And as you can see, there are many different emotions, feelings on the screen here. So, why don't you be creative and share something more than I'm fine, I'm good, I'm great? Ooh, share one of the more advanced feelings. Now, just know that you could also ask someone, how are you feeling today? Because this is a class to talk about your feelings. But we really only use how are you feeling today in very specific situations. The standard question, and the one I want you to use most of the time, is how are you doing today? And then, of course, you can answer and share a feeling, but that is the standard question. If you use how are you feeling today, the focus is on your mood, positive, negative, your health. Oh, I'm actually feeling a little unwell today. I'm feeling a little feverish. I have a headache, or just your overall mental state, stressed out, in a panic, overwhelmed, for example. Now, when would a native speaker and when would you use how are you feeling today instead of how are you doing today? If I know you are or you were sick. So yesterday, last week, you said, Jennifer, I'm a little sick right now. The next time I talk to you, I'm more likely to ask, how are you feeling today? Or if I know you were or are dealing with something difficult, maybe you're going through a breakup, a difficult project at work, a death in the family. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling? That's when I'm more likely to ask you, how are you feeling? With that said, what would you say? How is this woman feeling today? How is she doing? What would you say? If you had to choose an emotion, what would you say? Any ideas? Share it in the comments. And yes, absolutely. I'm feeling under the weather. I'm feeling under the weather. Excellent job. So that's an idiom to mean you're not feeling well. I'm feeling under the weather. Great one. Hello to you. And yeah, good. Stressed. She looks stressed for sure. I said, yeah, she looks. You need the adjective form, which is ed, stressed. And then you pronounce it with a T, stressed. So just like this student said, stressed, because it's the adjective form. Stress, to stress would be a verb, but here it's the adjective. So you can say she's overwhelmed, overwhelmed with a soft D, overwhelmed. Yeah, exactly, Natalia. Awesome job. She looks overwhelmed. You can use stressed, or you can turn it into a phrasal verb and say stressed out. And it's the same meaning. There's no difference. She looks stressed. She looks stressed out. Okay, so let's look at some vocabulary you can use because this is a pretty common situation, especially in our modern, busy world. Ooh, I like this one. She has a lot on her mind. Very nicely said. Yeah, she has a lot on her mind. The project, her kids' homework, the dog is sick. She has to pick up her in laws from the airport. She has a lot on her mind. So same thing. You have to use the adjective form, burned, ed. She's burned out, burned out. Very nicely done. Burned out is a prolonged feeling of stress. So if you are stressed for many, many weeks or even months, you might say that you're at a point where the stress has overtaken you and you're burned out. Very nicely done. Okay. So if she is overwhelmed, she might say to her coworker, I'm swamped. I'm swamped. Does this describe you today? Would you, or this week, Maybe you can use it in the past simple. Last week, I was swamped. So to be, and then you conjugate your verb. Next week, I'll be swamped. Right now, I am swamped. Last week, I was swamped. Very nice. On the verge, not in, on the verge of. Now, in this case, you want the noun. So on the verge of burnout, burnout. Or you could use the verb form, but it would be the ing because of is a preposition. And you can say she is on the verge of burning out. If you're on the verge of something, it means you're almost at that state, almost, but not quite. So one more task and she will be burned out. She has a lot on her shoulders. Very nicely done. Now you can continue on and say, I'm swamped with the project. So you can use with and then whatever the task or multiple tasks are. So what about you? Are you swamped with anything right now? Are you swamped with anything? Share it in the comments if you are, to practice this. Now you can also use because. I'm swamped because my assistant just quit. So this is the reason why she's overwhelmed, because now she's doing her job and her assistant's job. So of course, she's overwhelmed. She's stressed out. I'm swamped because. So you can use because and then provide the reason why. I'm swamped with my classwork. No S on work. Homework, work, schoolwork, classwork. It is an uncountable noun, so don't add an S. Yes, indeed, she looks stressed out. I was swamped with the project last week. Very nice. She's swamped with her new job. I'm swamped right now because of the work, for sure. Absolutely. I am swamped. It's not have, it's the verb to be. I am swamped with a research project. If you use have, then it would be the present perfect or the present continuous. I have been. Now the verb to be doesn't go into the ing form, so it would be the present perfect. I have been swamped. I've been swamped since last week. I've been swamped since last year, whatever it is. Awesome job practicing, everyone. I'm swamped learning English with Jenny. Well, hopefully that's a good kind of swamped. How about this? I've got a lot on my plate. So this just means you have many different responsibilities, but instead of responsibilities, you can use tasks, projects, because your responsibility could be simply doing the dishes, doing laundry, making dinner, helping your kids with their homework, feeding the dog. It doesn't have to be like a work responsibility. I have a lot on my plate right now. Okay, does that describe you? So practice using these expressions as well. So I have got, but you can also just say I have a lot on my plate. So maybe last week it was I had a lot on my plate, or next week I will have a lot on my plate. Yeah, last month we were quite swamped. Excellent job conjugating your verb and using quite swamped. I've got too much on my plate. I love that. Very nice. You can change it. So much, too much, not a lot. I don't have a lot on my plate, so sure, I can help you with that project. Okay, let's keep going. How about this? Losing a job is a lot to deal with. So maybe you're just acknowledging someone else's situation, your friend, your coworker, your family member. You could just be acknowledging their situation. showing empathy, or you could be talking about your own situation. Now, to be a lot to deal with, okay? It means losing a job is a lot to handle, or it's a lot to process. Process means that you just have to emotionally understand what happened, because maybe for 10 years every day you went to the same job, you did the same work, you had the same conversations, and now that is gone. That's a lot to process. So just to emotionally understand that your routine for 10 years is now over and you have to start a new routine. So that's what I mean by process, emotionally process. Okay. So here you can say something. In this case, because it starts with a verb, it's in the ing form. You could start with a noun and say a job loss. A job loss, that would be the noun form. But losing a job, that's the action, and it starts in the ing. Losing a job is a lot to deal with. Being a student is a lot to deal with. Working full time and going to school and raising a family is a lot to deal with. So that's a good one to have as well. How about this? Ooh, we're all stretched thin. We're all stretched thin this quarter. So a quarter is a period of 3 months. So generally in the business world, you divide the year into 4 quarters. So 4 periods of 3 months. So you can say, we're all stretched thin this quarter. So maybe this quarter, there's a big project, or one of the important team members quit, or there's some big change at work. So to be stretched thin, you have to look at the grammar, because here we have the verb to be. We are stretched thin. So to be stretched thin is the idiom. And it means that there are just too many requirements for the available resources. It doesn't just mean that you're busy, because you can be busy but not stretched thin, because you can be busy and able to handle the tasks. Okay. If you're stretched thin, it means that there are too many requirements for the available resources. So you have a work project that requires 8 people and you only have 5 people. Or you have a financial requirement of $100,000 and you only have $80,000. So you don't have the resources for the requirement. We use this with time, manpower, labor power, and also finances. Okay, so that's a good one. To be stretched thin. You can say we were stretched thin last quarter, but thankfully we hired new staff. So now everything is smooth sailing. Okay. Let's keep going. How about this? I'm a little overwhelmed. So if you want to reduce the feeling, so if someone sees you and you're just like, oh, but you want them to know you're okay, you can say, I'm a little overwhelmed. So it's reducing the amount of the emotion. I'm a little overwhelmed. I just need a breather. A breather. This is a very common noun, because as you can see grammatically, it's a noun, a breather. Okay, so right now I'm breathing. Of course, I'm breathing every second, but you can also purposely breathe. What do we do when we're stressed out? Well, advice is just to take some deep breaths, right? It can calm you down. So a breather is a short break. Now, you don't have to sit there and breathe during this short break, but it represents that you just need some time, a small amount of time to just relax, recover, and reduce stress. Maybe you go for a walk. Maybe you have some water. Maybe you look at some funny cat videos just to change your state. Whatever you do, but it's just a short break when you feel like your emotions are getting a little too high. A breather. A breather. Now, sometimes even in a classroom setting, a teacher might say, okay, let's take a breather. Let's take a breather. So maybe if you were just doing something very difficult and the teacher wants to acknowledge that right now, oh, you're probably a little tired or a little drained mentally because you were doing a very difficult task, the teacher might say, let's take a breather. Let's take a breather, a short break, relax, recover, reduce stress. A breather. So you take a break and equally you take a breather. You take a breather. All right. Yeah, short break, take 5. You don't say a 5, just take 5. Let's take 5. Let's take 5, get some water, go for a walk, clear our heads. Let's take 5. Take 5. 5 represents 5 minutes. Exactly. It's taking a break, a short break. Let's keep going. And are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, put yes, 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 put yes, yes, yes in the comments. Like this lesson. It's the best way that you can support this channel. And also subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson, every time I go live as well, so you don't miss a thing. And I have this free speaking guide. It's not right in front of me. Usually I show it. Oh, wait, it is. It was hiding under my computer. Hold on. Here it is. Okay, I have this free speaking guide. You can get it. Just go to the link in the description or just go to my website. You'll see it right there. Just enter your name and email. This will be emailed to you. You can save it to your computer or you can print it, write notes on it as well. And also, if you want to keep learning natural expressions, if you want to keep understanding real English, well, then you can join the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program, and I'm there to support you as your personal teacher. So you get advice, feedback, and support directly from me. Let's keep going, everyone. Ooh. So before we saw the woman was overwhelmed, stressed out, stressed. What about this man? What would you say? Yes. Well, this class is being recorded. So after it finishes, right now we're live, but after it finishes, you can watch it on my channel, just like a regular lesson. Okay. Ooh, furious. In a rage, upset. Or like, oh yeah, for the breather, decompress. Native speakers don't really say that, although literally you can think of it like that, but it's not really an expression that we use too much. Frustrated, irritated, angry, for sure. For sure. Pissed off. Yeah, this could be a sign of being stressed out. Absolutely. He saw red and hit the roof. Outraged. Oh, look at all these great expressions. Oops. Yes, thank you. Okay. Everyone had amazing examples. I just chose 3. The frustrated, angry, and annoyed. Annoyed is probably a little too weak of a word for the emotion that he's showing, because he looks a lot more than annoyed for sure. Okay, so annoyed is down here, and then angry, pissed off would be up here. for sure. Furious would be even above angry. So these, you have to think of the degree, the severity of the emotion. And for sure, annoyed would be at the bottom in terms of severity. He went bananas. Okay, amazing. So maybe, oh, and then he says, this new software system is driving me crazy. I don't know about you, but the one thing that tends to annoy me is technology because it seems like every day there are just issues with the various pieces of technology that I use, but they're essential. And if there is a problem, it screws everything up. So yes, this new software system is driving me crazy. I use this one a lot. So something and then your verb to be. If it were a plural subject, then you would use are. So you could say these systems in the plural are driving me crazy. Now, maybe he wants to speak about his whole team. He could say driving us crazy. So it doesn't have to just be me driving me crazy. It could be driving us crazy. Or you could be talking about someone else and be like, oh, that project is driving Sarah crazy. The client is driving Llama crazy, for example. Okay, so to drive someone crazy, if annoying is here, frustrating is here, I would say the level of severity would be a lot higher. So very frustrating, very annoying. Technology always changes. So yeah, it definitely drives anyone crazy. Very nice. Yeah, her kids are driving her crazy for sure. Now, of course, you don't have to be like angry. You could just be in a state of temporary frustration or annoyance. For sure. Kids drive people crazy all the time. My math homework is driving me crazy. Absolutely. So let's say you're trying to solve a problem and you're trying, and you can't. Oh, it's driving me crazy. Why can't I get this? Excellent. Excellent. Good job. How about this? I'm fed up. I'm fed up. Fed up. I use this one a lot too. I'm fed up. And then if you could just say I'm fed up, period, exclamation point, more likely, multiple exclamation points. But if you want to specify the reason, you could say with and then the noun. So with this software system, with my teacher, with these terrible roads. Okay, so fed up is quite strong. It sounds like you've reached your tolerance limit. So let's say this could be for a parent as well. And you could say, I'm fed up with your complaining to your kids or something like that. So they're complaining. You can tolerate it, but then at some point it's just been too long and then you cannot tolerate it anymore. Okay. It doesn't mean you've given up. It just means you've reached your tolerance limit. Yeah, it's like enough, I've had it. Exactly. Enough, I've had it for sure. I'm fed up with her jokes. She's so annoying. Yeah. So it means that you just can't tolerate it anymore. So the next time you're in a room and she starts telling one of her jokes, maybe you leave. You leave or you say to her, look, your jokes are not funny. You need to stop. So maybe you confront the person, maybe you remove yourself from the situation. So I don't know what you'll do, but you're at a point where you can no longer tolerate it. Yeah, I'm fed up with my same daily routine. So it sounds like you might be ready for a change. Exactly. I'm fed up with her lies. Exactly. You're not going to tolerate it anymore. Good job, everyone. Okay, how about this? It really bugs me. It really bugs me that our meetings go longer than scheduled. Okay, so if fed up is here, really bugs me would probably be about here. So at this point, if you say it really bugs me, it doesn't sound like you're fed up. You still have some time to go. So it bothers me, it annoys me, it frustrates me. It produces a negative feeling, but that negative feeling is about here in severity. Imagining low, high. It's about here. It really bugs me. Okay. You could start with the something. You could say, but you have to include, you could start with a noun. Our long meetings really bug me. So, our long meetings, it's a plural. So, it's they. They bug me. Okay. But here, it really bugs me. So I don't know what that is. So you need to specify it. It really bugs me that. And then a clause. Our meetings go longer than scheduled. A clause is a full sentence, subject, verb, object. So this is a more advanced sentence structure. I recommend that you try it in the comments. It really bugs me that I have to work overtime on the weekends. Absolutely. So you're not fed up, but you're at the point where you have a negative emotion. Yeah, her cliche behavior really bugs me while you can say in class or while I'm in class. You can't use while in class. So I would just get rid of while. My friend's uncertain behavior bugs me a lot. Yeah, for sure. It really bugs me seeing fake documents slip through initial checks. Absolutely. Very nice sentence structure, very advanced. Doing tasks in group bugs me so much. Very nice. Okay, let's keep going. I'm at my wits' end. I'm at my wits' end with our new intern. So this one is, I would say, about the same as fed up. Fed up. I'm at my wits' end. So you're very annoyed and you don't have any other ideas for a solution. So if you say I'm at my wits end, it sounds like you've already had conversations with the intern. You've given the intern additional training, additional support, but the problem is still there. So it sounds like you're at a point where you don't know what to do because you've already tried to solve the problem. So one's important. If you want to suggest you've already tried to solve something, use this one. I'm at my wits end with, and then something, someone or something. Fake reels on YouTube really bug me. For sure, I bet. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with insects. Just remember in English, we have many idiomatic expressions. So, idiomatic means it doesn't have a literal definition. And that's why it can be very difficult to truly learn a language and understand natives, because in your own language as well, you use words in a way that someone learning the language doesn't expect. because it's idiomatic. So that's what the word idiomatic means. It means that you have a word that isn't being used in the expected way, in the literal way. Good question. I'm at my wit's end with our discussion. I can't help you more. Exactly. Very nice. Yeah, I've tried everything, but nothing sticks. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. What about this man? What would you say? What's the emotion here? Ah, very nice, Manuel. Cut him some slack. That's some good advice. Cut him some slack. He's learning the ins and out. So Manuel is recommending that I give I give the intern more opportunities. I don't punish the intern. I don't get mad at the intern. I need to be patient and give the intern more opportunities, more time to learn. Cut him some slack. Very nice. Yeah, for sure. I see confused, surprised. It could be surprised. Absolutely. Stumped. Very nice. He doesn't understand. Huh? Huh? Exactly. Oh, curious. Why not? Why not curious? Lost. Absolutely. I like that. Baffled, bewildered. Very nicely done, everyone. Yep. Very nicely done. Yeah, what's going on? Huh? What's going on? Very nice. She was so stressed out because she was at her wit's end with her new coworker. Yeah, very nice. Just keep in mind it's at one's wit's end. I'm at my wit's end. He's at his wit's end. Very nicely done. Okay. So I just said confused. But yes, everyone had great adjectives. Well done. So maybe he's thinking, "Oh, I just can't figure out how to reset my password." What? So if you can't figure something out, well, then it means you're unable to solve a problem. I just can't figure out why my microphone won't work. I can't figure out how to restart my computer. So you can use I can't figure out, and then you can use one of the WHs, who, what, why, when, how. So that would be very common. Or you can say, the I can't figure the password reset out. So you can figure something out. That's a little clunky, to be honest. It would probably be more natural to use the how. But you could say, I can't figure this new software out, or I can't figure out this new software. So the something, it can go between or after. Yeah, I'm completely baffled by this password reset process. Yeah, why does it have to be so difficult? For sure. Or you can say, I saw the word stumped in the comments. Great job. I've tried 5 times, but I'm still stumped. So maybe the how to reset his password. I've tried 5 times, but I'm still stumped. So stumped in this context means confused. And we use it after you've tried. I have forgotten my phone's password. I just can't. Just as optional, you don't need to include it. So you can say, I can't figure out how to reset my password. Very nice. Or if you want to use just, I just can't figure out. Very nice. 5 attempts later, and I'm still at a loss. Very nice. Very nice. At a loss, stumped. I'm at my wit's end with this project. I can't figure it out. Exactly. So when you use the pronoun it, them, it must come between, exactly like ambition did here. Great job. Okay, seriously, what am I missing? What am I missing? So if you're trying to do something, you might say this to someone else or you might just say it out loud. What am I missing? What am I missing? So what am I missing? It represents there must be some instruction or piece of information about restarting my password that I just don't have. Clearly, I'm missing something. I'm missing a step. I'm missing an instruction. I'm missing a piece of information. So, seriously, what am I missing? What am I missing? So, we use this when you're trying to figure something out and you tried, and you can't. What am I missing? What am I missing? Am I missing the bigger picture here? Yeah, for sure. Great one. Yes, and stumped means confused. I'm stumped. I'm confused. But we usually use stumped when you've tried to do something many times and you still can't do it. That's when we use it. Yeah, we must have missed something because you're talking about it as a completed action. So we must miss something. You're actually like that sounds like a future. So you have to say, we must have missed something. Oh, this cake is horrible. We must have missed something. Oh no, we didn't put in baking powder or we didn't put in sugar. That's why it tastes horrible. How about this? I can't wrap my head around these new requirements. Okay, so you've read the requirements, but you don't fully understand them. You don't understand the meaning. So this isn't about an English language issue. It's not that I don't understand the words. It's more like I don't know what I'm supposed to do differently. It's saying I need to do this, but I don't have the resources. How could I possibly do that? So I can't wrap my head around it. So it's not understand in the sense of the definition of the words, it's understand the meaning or the requirement or what you need to do differently or how to implement. That's when you would use this. I can't wrap my head around these new requirements. Yeah, I'm having difficulty grasping the nuances of these new requirements. For sure, you could say that as well. I didn't write an essay. I must have missed something. Yeah, so you reviewed all the requirements to complete the assignment and check, check, check. And then you submitted it, but there was this other additional requirement that you didn't see. So you must have missed that requirement. Yeah, so you're talking about it now because the action is in the past. The action of you completing the assignment and checking off the requirements is in the past. Very nice. Great job, everyone. How about this? I feel completely lost. So, of course, you can use this if you're in a new city and you can't find your way. That's more that's definitely commonly used, but we also use this if I'm let's say I have a full list of requirements, they're very technical and I'm just confused. I don't know how to start the project. I don't know how I'm actually going to do this. It's very technical. I feel completely lost. Or maybe it's just your first day at a new job. And of course, you don't know where anything is, even just trying to find paper for the printer. You don't know where the printer is, you don't know where the paper is because it's your first day at this new job. I feel completely lost. So, just confused. Yeah. So you could tell your teacher after an explanation, the teacher might say, "Does that make sense?" And you say, "No, I'm completely lost." So you're letting your teacher know that you don't understand. Very nice. I feel completely lost as I don't know how to go about it. Exactly. So to go about something means how to solve it or how to start. I feel completely lost. Very nice. So, okay. This was a hard one for me to find an image of, but let me try to act it out. So, I'm looking for something, okay? And then that's what I was trying to show with the image. It was hard. So, do you know what I just acted out? So, what was that? Should I be an actor? Ah, someone understands me. You understand me. Relieved, relieved. Very nice. Relieved. Okay. Relieved. Yes, yes. The sigh is important for sure. The sigh. Yes. I found it. Exactly. You feel relieved. That is exactly what I was trying to show, which is hard if you don't have like first you need the panic and then you need the emotion. Cuz if you just see this, she could be happy. Okay. So you can just use this word. I'm so relieved. And then the reason. So you can use a clause. I found my phone. So I could just say that as a sentence. I found my phone. I found my phone. But if I want to show the emotion, I'm so relieved, which means that something negative could have happened, but did not happen. Yeah, my boyfriend is coming. Such a relief. Okay, so here, this is great. I'm glad you said that, Manuel, because such a, you need the noun form. So relief with an F, relief is the noun, relieved is the adjective, it's the emotion. Okay, I'm so relieved I found my wallet. Exactly. Very nice. I'm utterly relieved I found my phone. So, utterly means completely. Very nice. Ah, I'm so relieved I unlocked my combination password in the end, for sure. Oh, I like this. Good job, Helena. Finding my passport. So something, finding my phone, passing the exam, getting to the airport on time was because it's in the past, relieving. So this is also an adjective, but it describes a situation, not a state. Okay, so you're describing the situation, not yourself. I'm so relieved. I'm describing myself. Something is relieving. You're describing the situation. So the situation is finding my phone. Finding my phone was so relieving. Very nicely done. Thank you for doing that. So, everyone, try it with relieved and then relieving the ED form, the ING form. Ah, I have this one coming. Good one. There aren't many expressions I could think of with relieved. But the one you have is one of them. Okay, so you can simply say, "Oh, what a relief. What a relief." So you could use this just as a standalone statement. I could just be looking and then, "Oh, what a relief. What a relief." Or maybe a friend says to you, I found my phone. And then you reply back and say, what a relief. What a relief. So you're just using this as a full statement. What a relief. You could continue on. What a relief you found your phone, because it's for the friend. You found your phone. I am, don't forget the verb to be. I am relieved I passed the test. Very nicely done. It's a relief. Very nice, because you're using a relief. Everyone, a relief is a noun, okay? It's a relief to find the documents in place. Very nice. Good job. Yes. Finding my ID and credit card was so relieving. Very nice. Very nice. It is so relieving to know that you are safe and sound. Oh, I love that. Very nice. Good job. Okay. How about this? You're so lucky. So instead of using the word relieved or relief, you might just say to someone, you're so lucky you didn't get fired. So if I wanted to use relieved, you could say, what a relief you didn't get fired. Or not getting fired was so relieving. Because remember, to just use relieving, you need a situation. The situation is not getting fired, not getting fired. But that's a little clunky. Natives, when clunky, by clunky, I mean a native speaker wouldn't likely say that, even though it is grammatical. Okay. So it'd be more likely, a native speaker would be more likely to say, you're so lucky. Oh, you're lucky. You're lucky. Just like I could say, I'm so lucky I found my phone. I'm so lucky. So you're so lucky you didn't get fired. You're so lucky you found your phone. So the action is most likely in the past because you're expressing you're lucky. So you know the result of the action. You're so lucky you weren't home when the fire happened or whatever it could be. Of course, to talk about you're so lucky or relief, there has to be something with a negative result. Of course, it can be a life threatening situation, but it can also be something just minor like not getting stuck in traffic or finding your phone. Although that's a pretty big one for most people because our phones have everything, our wallets, our documents, everything. It's a pretty big deal. It's not just a phone, of course. The client had no idea we weren't prepared. We really dodged a bullet. Okay, so for this one, I needed to provide some additional context. So the additional context is we were not prepared. We came to that meeting without a plan, without a good presentation, but the client had no idea. The client was impressed, even though we just threw together that presentation at the last minute, but the client didn't know. So we dodged a bullet. There was a negative situation, but we avoided that negative situation. The negative situation is the client saying, it's obvious you didn't prepare for this meeting. That's the negative situation because it's true. We didn't prepare, but the client didn't know. So we avoided that negative situation. So you can just think of it as a negative situation, but here it's stressful, unpleasant, but just any negative situation. So to dodge a bullet, to dodge a bullet. Okay, so that's a very common idiom. And remember, it's an idiom, so it has nothing to do with bullets. Let's keep going. How about this? Now that the project's over, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. So we use this to express relief because if we have relief, it means that we no longer have a negative situation. So that we often view or express negativity as being heavy and positivity as light. Because when we're in a negative state, we tend to crouch down. And when we're happier or at when we're calm, at ease, we're more relaxed with our body. So that's what this expression represents. So a weight is what you lift at the gym. So it's a noun. A weight has been lifted off my shoulders because that's where we usually show tension is in our shoulders. Okay, so you feel relief. So you can say, "Oh, a weight has been lifted. A weight has been lifted." You can use that after a stressful situation. Or you can absolutely say, "I feel lighter now that the project is over." So rather than talking about the negativity being gone, you can just talk about the positivity. "I feel lighter. I feel lighter now that the project is over." Very nice. It's such a relief to have that behind me. So if you describe something as behind you, so you can even that project is behind me. My accident is behind me. So it means it's in the past. You're no longer affected by that situation now. It's in the past. It's behind me. So even when let's say you had a conflict with your friend and your friend is still apologizing to you, you can say, "Look, that's behind us. That's behind us. So that's in the past. I'm not bothered by it anymore. That's behind us." Very nicely done. Okay, well, this is an easy one for emotions. Of course, I had to end with something positive. So let's end our lesson with just happy emotions. Of course, you know many, many, many alternatives to happy already. So share some in the comments, show off your vocabulary. I know you know them. So let's learn some together. You can say they're elated, elated, elated because they landed a major client. So you can provide the reason why they're elated. Now, instead of elated, you could use delighted. That would be very happy as well. Thrilled would be very happy. Over the moon on cloud nine because you're on the cloud. Very nice. How about this? She's on top of the world. So this is an idiom. Remember, you have to take the words, but you have to identify the words because we have to be, she is on top of the world. So you can't say in top. You can't say all world. You have to use these words exactly. And you can provide the reason why. She's on top of the world because she got the promotion. Extremely happy. So, what about you? Are you on top of the world? Are you thrilled? Are you on cloud nine? And you can share the reason why. She will be traveling soon. That's why she is looking at the sky. At the sky. Yeah, very nice. I'm happy to be one of Jennifer's students, and I'm so happy you are as well, for sure. Okay, how about this? He's over the moon, over the moon. So just get these prepositions right. So yes, you know these expressions, but you have to really make sure you know them. You have to have the exact words. To be, again, he is over the moon. You might say he was over the moon when he passed his IELTS, for example. So extremely happy. I'm over the moon. Very nice. She won a lottery. So she was on cloud 9. Very nice. Okay, how about this? They're beyond excited. So, of course, you can say excited. So, excited is here. And then beyond excited is here. So, it's higher than excited, beyond excited, more than excited. So, you can just think of it as extremely or very excited. They're beyond excited. Now, beyond, you can use this with a negative emotion. I'm beyond fed up with the new intern. So you can instantly change it to something negative, okay? So beyond doesn't only go with positive emotions. You can use it with anything to just mean very or extremely. He's over the moon because she accepted his proposal. Yes, I do. She's thrilled. She's thrilled. So to be and then thrilled. So thrilled functions as the adjective. It describes her state. She's thrilled. She's going to California for a work conference. And you can replace California with any desirable location that you want to go to. She's thrilled. She's going to California for a work conference. So she's extremely happy. Yeah, I like this. They're beyond excited. And honestly, who can blame them? Who can blame them? It means that you have to acknowledge that their emotion is justified. And you can use this for a negative emotion. She's beyond fed up with the new intern. And honestly, who can blame her? I mean, the new intern is terrible. She's justified for being fed up. Who can blame her? Good job. I like that. Thank you for sharing it. And that's it, everyone. So, end with some positive emotions. Traveling with my close friend is beyond exciting. Exactly. She is thrilled. My heart is overflowing with gratitude and joy. So many nice ones. Yeah, ecstatic, very happy, extremely happy, ecstatic. Absolutely. Awesome job, everyone. All right, just remember you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. So just look in the description for the link or just go to my website and you will see it right there. Just enter your name and email, and this will be delivered right to your inbox. And also, just remember if you want to keep learning and you want to get my support and you want a proven process, well, then you can join the Finally Fluent Academy, where you will get a full program, full curriculum, and my personalized support. So you can find the link in the description or just go to my website and look for Finally Fluent Academy. And if you enjoyed this lesson, again, put yes, yes, yes. It would make me very happy. I would be thrilled if you put yes, yes, yes in the comments and like this lesson. It's the best way that you can say thank you and that you can support the channel. And subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson and every time I go live. All right, everyone. Woohoo. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for participating. My students are so awesome. You always have the best vocabulary. I didn't teach certain concepts because I knew you would teach them in the comments. So great job, everyone. And I will see you next time. Bye.